Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namah. Om Namo Brahmadibhyah Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyah Vamsharshibhyah Mahadvyah Namo Gurubhyah. Sri Jagmalka says to Maitreyi, Atmavara Dashtavya hai, Shrotavya hai, Mantavya hai, Nidhyasitavya hai, Maitreyi. Atmavare darshanena, shravanena, matya, vijnanena, idam sarvam viditam. Atmanavara darshanena, by darshanam, by the knowledge of Atma, which is the result of Shravanam, Maranam, Nididhyasanam. Idam Sarvam Viditam, by knowing Atma, knowing the Self, all of this as well becomes known. How can it be? Atma is one thing, all of these different things. How can it be that by knowing one thing that other things can be known? By knowing Ghata, for example, the pata, the cloth, cannot be known. By knowing a part, we do not know the cloth. By knowing A, you do not know B. And how can it be that by knowing Atma, you know everything? Only if what we call everything is nothing but Atma, then alone it is possible. So in order to show how everything is but Atma, everything is but the Self, what is this Self, what is this consciousness, what is this Asti, Bhati, Priyam, that's all there is. That alone manifests as the whole universe, just as the water alone manifests as all waves and foam and bubbles. Gold alone manifests as all various ornaments. And so also Atma, the Self, the consciousness alone, manifests as the whole universe of names and forms. And now to demonstrate that, we read the 6th passage on the page 13. Brahmatam paradadya anyatra atmano brahmaveda. Brahma means Brahmana. As an example, Brahmana, Kshatriya stands for, the society consisting of the 4 castes. Brahmana, Kshatriya, the representatives of the society. that a Brahmana, Kshatriya, X, Y, whoever it is, rejects me if I look upon them as different from me. So an interesting way of saying that I am rejected by you if I look upon you as different from me. And you are rejected by me if you look upon me as different from you. No, Swami, I don't reject anybody. I accept everybody. But if you look at very closely at our own response to the people we interact with, even though the person may be my friend, someone whom I love, as long as there is this duality that I am different, this person is different, there is a discomfort in me. I do not feel included by you when you look upon me as different from you. And similarly also, you do not feel included by me if I look upon you as different from me. There is something that we have to look at our own self, our own feeling, inner feeling that we have when we interact with anybody. More love I have for for a person, closer I feel, and therefore more oneness is felt. More accepted I feel, and in turn, more I accept as a person. More included I feel, and in turn, I include the person. This is what we call love. And that love should become absolute for a wise person. The love is whenever I see the oneness between you and me, to the extent that I see oneness between you and me, to that extent there is love. Because absolute love I have for my own self. Atmasu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Anything becomes dear to me because I am dear to myself, or anything I love because I love myself. Same thing. It's love that gives me joy, and therefore anything becomes lovable to me when because I love myself. So either you can say Atmastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. Whatever becomes dear to me is because the self is dear to me. Otherwise, you can also say that I love something because I love myself. And the reason is very simple. Because the self that you are is the self that I am. Although that fact may not be known to us at conscious level, but it's felt by us, at the inner level. And therefore we are comfortable where we are loved, we are included, and we are not comfortable where we are not included. The extent to which I am included, I am comfortable. And that is what Upanishad says here. Brahmatam paradat ya anyatra atmana brahma veda. As an example, a Brahmana rejects me when I look upon a Brahmana as different from me. A Kshatriya rejects me when I look upon Kshatriya as different from me. Brahmana, Kshatriya stand for the whole society. And then many other things are also stated here, the lokas and devatas and etc. etc. In the Vedic times, what was important is you perform yaga in order to attain certain lokas. You propitiate devatas, so therefore devatas, lokas, etc. are very relevant at that time. We can translate this to our own time right now. that I feel accepted when I love somebody, I feel rejected when I do not love. When there is a distance, why is it so? Idam Brahma, idam Kshatram, ime Lokaha, ime Devaha, imani Bhutani, idam Sarvam. Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Lokas, Devatas, Vedas, everything. Idam Sarvam, Yadayam Atma. The sixth passage, the last statement is Idam Sarvam, Yadayam Atma. Idam Sarvam, all of this is Yadayam Atma, this Atma. All of this is nothing but this Atma. So it's I am Atma, I am means this, something that is evident. In Sanskrit, this, in English, I say this is something that is evident. All of this is nothing but this self that is evident to me, that is experienced by me. Because self is of the nature of consciousness, which is always self-revealing, and therefore I am always conscious of myself. The self of which I am conscious of, all of this is nothing but the self of which I am conscious of. That being the case, meaning what you are is nothing but what I am. All there is one self. That being the case, when I look upon you as different from me, I am in fact violating the reality. When I look upon you as different from me, I am violating the reality that you and I, so I am creating division within my own self. Myself is the one that all of you are, and that includes everything. And when I look upon you as different from me, and why does that happen? When I identify with this body, this upadhi, this body, mind, sense complex, I look upon you as that body, mind, sense complex. And certainly this body is different from that body. Therefore, when I equate myself to this body, I equate you with that body. Certainly, the self that I think I am is different from the self that you are. This is the result of ignorance. So we are born with ignorance, and that is the whole idea of the Upanishad, is to help us, become free from ignorance and recognize the reality as it is. We are born with ignorance, and ignorance manifests as identification with body, mind, sense complex. Ignorance here is not simply lack of knowledge or absence of knowledge. This ignorance is a very peculiar kind of ignorance. The Vedantic ignorance has two aspects, avarana and vikshepa. Avarana means not knowing the true nature. So ignorance of a self means that I do not know the true nature of myself. And vikshepa means that I know myself contrary to what I am. I do not know that I am Brahman, I am limitless, I am self of all, and I know myself as a limited entity separate from everything. This is the basic problem in our life. Why is it so, Swami? I don't know. If you are born with knowledge, this would have been Brahmaloka, There is no conflict at all because I have no conflict with myself. If I know you as myself, then there will be nothing but love because I love myself unconditionally. And closer, less I am identified with this upadhi, less I will identify you with that upadhi, then there will be more and more closeness between the two. So Upanishad wants us to live life happily by recognizing the true nature of ourselves. The self that I am is the self that you are. The body that I am is different from the body that you are. The waves are many and one wave is different from the other wave. But basically what a wave is nothing but water. In that sense, all waves have their being in one water. This is what every Upanishad wants to teach us. The identification with this body-mind is so strong and so real that I seem to be comfortable by looking upon myself as a limited entity. I'm not comfortable, but that's called ego. And that I want to confine myself, it looks like, to this body-mind complex. And I do not want anybody to encroach upon the boundaries. Always keep a distance and you are there and not, this is the limit, not beyond that. But that's all right in practical sense. But what I'm saying is, how the ignorance which results into identification with this individuality, individual body-mind complex, results into the division in our life. And this is the cause of all unhappiness in our life. This is what Vedanta calls duality. Duality doesn't mean two, understand? Duality does not mean two. In Sanskrit there is a word called Bheda. Bheda means division. Not duality, what is meant is division. And Bheda means Anyonya Bhava. What you are is not what I am. Anya and Anya. You are not what I am. I am not what you are. So I exclude you and in turn you exclude me. So thus we live a life of excluding others and being excluded by others. Upanishad says that the basic cause of all our unhappiness is in this division. Whether I am poor or whether I am wealthy, whether I am a scholar or whether I am illiterate, it doesn't matter what I am. If I knew what I truly am, it does not matter what my personality is. All there would be harmony. And therefore, the reality is that like the waves feel different from each other because the names and forms are different. The water identifying the wave thinks that I am a wave different from other waves. And so also the self identified with this name and form thinks that this is what I am. And therefore we live a life of mutual exclusion. Brahmatam paradat yanyatratmana brahmaveda. A Brahmana house rejects one, looks upon him as different from Brahmana, meaning that you reject me whenever I look upon you as different from me. You don't have to make an effort to reject me. I reject you when you look upon me as different from you. Is built in the rejection, is built in, I keep a distance. There is discomfort. I don't feel totally comfortable in presence of another person and there is a distance. So Upanishad says, what is called Brahmana and Kshatriya, Imam Brahma, Imam Kshatram, Ime Lokaha, all these words, Ime Devaha, all these Devatas, Imani Bhutani, all these beings, when all the names and forms, Idam Sarvam, Yadayam Atma. What all this is nothing but the self. Because the question was, by knowing the self, you know everything. How can it be? Because all this is indeed self. How is it so? Just as these various parts are there, and this part has a personality of having a certain volume and certain shape, etc. This part has a different personality, having its own volume, its own shape, and so forth. Each would have its own individuality, its own ego. Superiority, inferiority, all complexes may be there. And therefore, when there is a separatedness, and this fellow looks upon this part in one way, this looks upon another way, because even though in reality both of them are one, namely one clay, but then because of identifying with his name and form, they think they are different from each other. So here now Upanishad gives various examples. Bhashyakara says very beautifully, how do you say all of this is Atma? Just as we say, all these parts are nothing but clay. This I am sure will accept, all these parts are nothing but clay. Why is it so? Because whenever we experience a part, we also experience the clay, meaning that we cannot experience the part apart from clay. So Bhashyakara says that when two things are experienced together, here we experience two things, part and clay. When two things are experienced together, they cannot be two. If part and clay are experienced together, then part and clay cannot be two. They'll be what? Because we cannot experience this part. This is clay, by the way, so without experiencing clay, or a more familiar example is we cannot experience this ornament without experiencing gold. When two things are experienced together, they are not two, they are one. Just as a bangle cannot be experienced apart from the experience of gold, and therefore this bangle and gold are one. Is that clear? And Bhashyakara says that when I experience you, for example, I am aware of you, right? I am aware of the pot, aware of the ornament, aware of a human being, aware of, sentient, insentient, whatever there is, I am aware of them. I cannot experience something unless I am aware of that, meaning that awareness is involved in every experience. And therefore there can be no experience without awareness. So whatever I experience is always experienced along with the experience of awareness. You follow? Whenever I experience something like you, I am aware of you. Therefore, whenever I experience anything, the awareness always goes with it, right? I'm aware of the wall, aware of the ceiling, aware of the fan, aware of the table, and therefore, with table plus awareness, fan plus awareness, wall plus awareness, ceiling plus awareness, whatever I experience, I always experience along with the experience of awareness. Nothing can be experienced without the experience of awareness, and therefore nothing is different from awareness. Just as you cannot experience the chain without experiencing gold, the chain is nothing but gold, so also we cannot experience anything without experiencing awareness. Is that right? Just as I cannot experience all the waves without experiencing water, therefore waves are nothing but water. So also I cannot experience anything, no name and form, no vida, unless I experience awareness also. Is that clear? If that is so, then what is everything? Idam sarvam yadayam atma. Idam all of this. all of this, nothing can be experienced apart from awareness. Therefore, all of this is what? Awareness, which is the self. Therefore, all of this is nothing but the self. That's the equation. What happens is that we experience awareness plus name and form. We overlook the fact that we also experience awareness. And where is that awareness? My own self. I first experience myself, which is awareness, and then alone I can experience anything else. So if I pay attention, I recognize that every experience involves the experience of awareness, which is myself, which is Atma, and therefore what is awareness, and therefore what is Atma, idam sarvam, idayam Atma. Idam sarvam, all of this is yat ayam Atma, this self. That's the Mahavakya of this Upanishad. All this is nothing but this self. Prajnana vyatirekena swapna jagratayo na kasyid vastu vishesho gruhyati. Bhashyakara says that in waking or in dream. In deep sleep we don't experience anything in particular, but in waking and dream, no experience can take place unless there is the experience of awareness. Tasmat prajnana vyatirekena abhava. Therefore, just as I cannot experience a bangle without experiencing gold, and therefore there is no bangle without gold, or what bangle would be nothing without the gold, and so also I cannot experience anything without experiencing awareness. Therefore, there is nothing other than experience, or what is the awareness. Nothing other than awareness, and therefore what is awareness. Now that Upanishad wants to demonstrate with many examples, very simple day-to-day examples of those days, You find very, rustic examples. So, let us read the passage number 7 on the page 14. स यथा दुन्दुभेः हन्यमानस्य न बाह्यान् शब्दान् शक्नुयात् ग्रहणाय दुन्दुभेस्तु ग्रहणेन दुन्दुभि आघातस्य वा शब्दो गृहीतः. Dundu means a drum. So from a distance, when somebody is hitting a drum with a stick, Dunduvehe Hanyamanasya, when a drum is beaten, you know from a distance that, hey, a drum is, somebody is playing on the drum. For example, when the time comes for in Navratri in Gujarat, they do this Garba dance. So to invite everybody, to let everybody know that now the dance is going to begin, he beats up the drum, then everybody knows now. So from distance also we know that he is beating a drum. Although he may be beating different kind of notes on that. Depends upon how skilled he is, he beats although all notes are different from each other, the particular notes are there, but all particular notes contain the general sound of drum. You follow? The particular sound of drum, so we know he is playing drum, although he is playing different notes, but the particular cannot be experienced without experiencing the general or samanya. Vishesha, like this chain, cannot be experienced unless you experience the gold, which is samanya. So, when somebody is playing different notes on the drum, you know that the drum is being played. Because every particular note contains the samanya or the general sound of the drum. That's all, that's the example. No vishesha or particular can be experienced without experiencing samanya or general. Ornament is a vishesha, cannot be experienced, or samanya, which is gold. So Vedantin would say that the ornament is superimposed upon the gold. A vishesha or a particular is superimposed upon samanya, universal. So universal and particular. Universal gold and particular ornament. Similarly, universal is the sound of the drum. Particular are the various notes. The particular cannot stay apart from the universal. The universal is superimposed upon the particular. Second example is that of a veena, a shankha. Like blowing a conch, then I know that in a conch also you can make different kinds, there can be different kinds of notes. But then even from a distance I know that he is blowing a conch. So an example is that of veena or a lute. So when he's playing particular notes on veena or the lute, we know that he's playing veena because the particular cannot be apart from samanya, meaning that the general sound of the veena is always involved in the particular notes of veena. General sound of a conch is involved in the particular notes of a conch. General sound of a drum is involved in the particular notes of a drum. 3 examples are given. You don't have to give 3, but just to drill things upon our mind that no vishesha or particular can be experienced without experiencing samanya or universal. A part is vishesha, cannot be experienced without the samanya, which is clay. A gold chain is vishesha, which cannot be experienced without samanya, which is gold. So we may not make a note of the samanya, but we are experiencing samanya. Our mind may be so preoccupied with vishesha that we may not make a note of the fact that we are experiencing samanya. That we hear the drum and not experiencing the samanya general sound of drum is experienced in all particular sounds of drum. And so also we experience all vishesha, particular names and forms. In every experience, the samanya or the universal also is involved. The particular cannot exist without the universal. The vishesha cannot exist without samanya. The ornament cannot exist without gold. The particular cannot exist without the universal. Therefore, when I experience this pot, for example, this is, everybody knows this. What is it? The pot has 5 aspects. First is what? The pot is, which is asti. The pot shines in my awareness, which is bhati. And this pot is mine. And therefore it is dear to me, priyam. And pot is a name and a form. And so also is Benga, is, shines in my awareness, is dear, asti, bhati, priyam, and a name and form. So you take any object in the universe, every object has the 5 aspects, asti, bhati, priyam, nama and rupa. Is that, I guess everybody understands this? A wall is asti, wall shines in my awareness, bhati, wall is dear to me. Now that will take some time, perhaps to, establish how this thing is dear to me. I don't like this wall, Swamiji. I don't like this color. I don't like this pattern. Understand that everything is lovable. Everything in the universe is lovable. where the change has to happen in my mind. That when my mind becomes free from any demand of how a thing should be, when I don't put any kind of a value upon something, I don't make any demand upon something, then everything is beautiful. Or everything is dear. Everything is beautiful if we do not have a demand that, oh Swami, this is a compulsory thing, this is ugly. This crumpled piece of thing, is it beautiful? It's ugly, is it not so? Had it been like this, perhaps. Oh, this is Swamiji. Yeah, this is quite beautiful. You do this, it's ugly. Now that beautiful and ugly, are these more notions in my mind, or is it the nature of this entity? This is ugly and this is beautiful. That is because I have decided what beautiful is and what ugly is. Is it not so? The other day I had some piece of paper which I compared throughout. Ugly thing. When I returned home, I saw a new piece of art. I entered the home. Right there was a very beautiful frame in which, oh look, wow. You know what was it? Same crumpled piece of paper. Somebody had put in such a beautiful frame and such a background. I was, wow, You need somebody to show us a beauty in what, everything, I guess. That's all it is. In sort of what is beautiful, we don't have to change it to make it beautiful. The change has to happen here, then we find that everything is beautiful. That's what Vedanta wants us to do. Bring about a transformation of the mind, which is called Antahkarana Shuddhi, or purification of mind. The reason why right now something is beautiful, something is not, because of my demand as to how a beautiful thing should be and how it should not be. In Vedanta they call it raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. My mind is free from demand. Well, I stand before Ganga, perhaps my mind may become free, and then whatever it is looks beautiful. Sometimes a lot of water, sometimes a little water, sometimes dirty water also, it depends, in monsoon. In every situation, to me, Ganga looks beautiful because I have no demand of how Ganga should be. Similarly, if I have no demand on how a thing should be, I'll find it to be beautiful. Or an object of happiness. Meaning that everything has the, what happened? No, we will do that in the evening. We have a question and answer session. So please write your question and put it in this box. Antahkarana Shuddhi means I have no demands. I am comfortable with what is called Antahkarana Shuddhi. In that case, everything will appear to be beautiful. Because it's created by Ishvara, not by you and I. Ishvara is omniscient, sarvajna, and he in his wisdom he has created what he has created. What business do we have to find fault with what he has created, because, this is creation of Ishvara. Who is sarvajna, sarvashaktiman. There cannot be fault in what he has created. Anyway, what I am saying is that, so, it's a transformation in my mind by which I can see what is beautiful. Asti bhati priyam. A name and form is nothing but a vehicle for manifestation of asti bhati priyam. Just as an ornament is a vehicle of manifestation of gold, and so any name and form is a vehicle for manifestation of asti bhati priyam. So what is asti bhati priyam. Name and form is inconsequential really. They are just incidental. The pot is incidental, the clay is real. And so what is real is asti bhati priyam, that is Atma. Idam saram yadayam Atma. What is this Atma manifesting in different names and forms? That is called creation. Just to provide us a variety. Ishvara has, created all this variety of names and forms, variety and diversity. So if we would not get bored, I guess. But what he has done for our entertainment has become a problem for us. Because I want a form only in a certain way. Oh, your nose is like that, and eyes is like that, and this is like that, and then I have all kinds of problems. If I had no demands, my mind was just open and accepting and appreciating what there is. Idam saram yadayam Atma. What is this Atma? And to illustrate what is this Atma, because as we said, we cannot experience anything without experiencing awareness. Just as you cannot experience this part which is particular without experiencing clay which is samanya. So reduce it to more and more samanya. Here examples are just as when you blow a conch, or when you play on lute, or when you blow a drum. So there are different sounds are there. Sound of drum, sound of lute, sound of conch. So the different kinds of sounds, all of them have samanya in sound in general, isn't it? Particular sound is that of lute, of drum, of conch. None of them is apart from the sound in general. Just as all these pots and pans are not apart from clay, so many samanyas are there. Those samanyas are reduced into further samanya. Can you see this? Like all sounds, different sounds are reduced to sounds, different touch are reduced to all touch, different forms are reduced to form in general. Then sound and touch and form are all reduced to elements in general, bhuta. They are reduced to prakriti in general. Prakriti means the primordial matter. That is reduced to what? Asti bhati priyam. So this samanyas, mahasamanya, the universal, greater universal, most universal, the universal. So how the particulars are reduced to samanya, into further samanya. For example, all these ornaments are reduced to gold. Gold is a metal. All different metals can be reduced to matter, which can be reduced to again elements, which can reduce to atoms, and which can reduce to energy, which can be reduced to what? Sat, Chit, Ananda. So this is how Upanishad shows how we are all the time experiencing the self. And why are we experiencing self? Because it is our self, and it is always self-revealing. I cannot be aware of anything unless I am aware of myself. And the self is consciousness. I cannot be aware of anything unless I am aware of consciousness. So what is what? Consciousness. Just as I can't experience the pot without experiencing clay, I cannot experience any name and form unless I experience asti bhati priyam, which is the most universal, which is myself. So, idam saram yadayam Atma. What all these is nothing but Atma. And different examples are given here. Just as when a drum is beaten, how the particular notes of drum cannot be experienced without the general sound of the drum. How when a conch is blown, the particular notes of conch cannot be experienced without the general sound of the conch. the veena, the lute, the particular notes of lute cannot be experienced without the general sound of the lute. And sound is one of the elements. And sound is what then? Sound and touch and the form and the smell and the taste. And they are, all of them are nothing but what? Bhutas. All of them nothing but the elements. All of them are nothing but ultimately molecules, atoms, etc. All of them are ultimately reduced to what? Mahasamanya, or the universal, which is Asti Bhati Priyam. So the Upanishad gives various examples in the passage 7. The example of Dundavi or the drum is given. In passage 8, the Shankha or the conch is given. Passage 9, the veena or the lute is given. So there are different sounds. Sound of drum, sound of conch, sound of lute. Particular sounds are reduced to general sound, and sound is one of the elements reduced to element in general, to Prakriti, to name and form, to Asti Bhati Priyam. So that is how it shows that how when the universe is never apart from the consciousness which is Asti, Bhati and Priyam. Then, if everything is Atma, the equation is, when you say all these pots and pans are clay, what it means is that all the pots have emerged from clay, all the pots are sustained by clay, all the pots merge into clay. Similarly, all the universe must emerge from Atma, must be sustained by Atma, must merge back into Atma. To explain these different examples are given at the time of sustenance. The example of the drum was given to show how the sound of a drum is, the particular sound note of a drum is only when the general sound is there. So that is the example of what we call sustenance. That in sustenance, particular cannot be apart from the universal. And then, when it comes to the creation, how Atma was before the creation also, Atma is after the creation also. So explain the creation, look at the passage 10 on the page 17. The examples are very, rustic examples, but still they are beautiful examples. So let us read the passage 10. So yatha adridhagnehe abhyahitat prathak dhumaha Vinischaranti evam vai are asya mahato bhutasya nishvasitam etata yadrugvedaha yajurvedaha samavedaha atharvangirasaha itihasaha Puranam Vidyaha Upanishadaha Shlokaha Sutrani Anuvyakhyanani Vyakhyanani Asyeva Etani Nishvasitani. If you see the translation, as from a fire, kindled with wet faggot. So, when the wood is a little wet, And when you kindle that, then smoke will come out and sparks also will come out. Sparks usually come out when the wood is somewhat wet. Otherwise there is only flame. So when a wet piece of wood is kindled, then smoke also comes out, sparks also come out, flames also come out. Smoke, sparks, flame. So what this smoke and spark and flame are all different from each other. But before they were produced, what were they? They were nothing but fire. And when the fire is kindled, and smoke and the spark and the flame, which are all different from each other, they all come out from the fire. Just as from one fire all the diverse things emerge, so also from one Paramatma the diverse universe emerges. Simple example, just as from one fire diverse things emerge. What are these diverse things? Embers are there, smoke is there, sparks are there, flames are there, all different from each other, emerge from one fire. And so also is the whole universe, which is all, variety of names and forms, emerge from one Paramatma. Here the example is how all the Vedas and the whole scriptures also emerges from this Paramatma, like the outbreath of a human being. Ascheva etane nishvasitane. This passage says that all the scriptures, the Vedas, Ityasa, Purana, whatever scriptures we have, all of them have emerged from this great being that is Paramatma, effortlessly. Just as the out-breath emerges from a human being effortlessly, so also all these scriptures have emerged from Paramatma effortlessly. What is meant by effortlessly is that when Paramatma also has not written the scriptures. See, if you write them or compose them, then an effort is required. But these have all emerged themselves from Paramatma, meaning they are not even composed by Ishvara. The Vedas are not composed scriptures. Vedas are revealed scriptures that have just emerged from Ishvara. There is some technical thing here is that then only they become, if they are composed or written by somebody, even by Ishvara, then they will be limited by the buddhi. But here the Upanishad says that they emerge from Ishvara, and therefore even the Vedas, the scriptures are not composed, and therefore they are free from the defects of an intellect. When an intellect composes something, that composition will always reflect the limitation of the intellect. And so if these scriptures were even composed by Ishvara, likely that somebody may have an objection that because they are composed, they are likely to have some limitations. So this one says that the scriptures emerge from Ishvara, and therefore they have the nirdosha pramana. Similarly also the whole universe has emerged from Ishvara effortlessly. So utpatti kale, sthiti kale, and then laya kale. For utpatti, the example of the fire, smoke, etc., the smoke, etc., given from fire. So sthiti, the sound was given different. Now for laya, the passage 11, we'll amplify this a little further tomorrow morning, but at the moment, on the page 20, the passage 11, स यथा सर्वासाम अपाम समुद्रः एकायनम् एवं सर्वेषां स्पर्शानां त्वग् एकायनम् एवं सर्वेषां गन्धानां नासिके एकायनम् एवं सर्वेषां रसानां जिह्वा एकायनम् एवं सर्वेषां रूपाणां चक्षुः एकायनम् एवं सर्वेषां शब्दानां श्रोत्रम् एकायनम् एवं सर्वेषां संकल्पानां मन एकायनम् एवं सर्वासां विद्यानां हृदयम् एकायनम् एवं सर्वेषां कर्मणां हस्तौ एकायनम् एवं सर्वेषाम् आनन्दानां उपस्थ एकायनम् एवं सर्वेषां विसर्गाणां पावेकायनम् एवं सर्वेषाम् अध्वनां पादौ एकायनम् एवं सर्वेषां वेदानां वाक् एकायनम्. Example of the laya, how all different things ultimately merge into one self or one Brahman. Just as all the waters ultimately merge into ocean, ocean is the source of all the water, and the water gets evaporated, then becomes cloud, and it becomes rain, then ultimately comes back to the ocean. Ocean is the destination of all the water. Sarvesham sparshanam. So similarly also all the touch are felt by the tvak or the skin or the organ of touch. So how all the touch ultimately have their destination as one organ of touch. All sounds have a destination in one organ of hearing. All forms have their destination as one organ of the eyes or the color and form. And thus the destination or the layer of everything is shown here. How the whole universe ultimately resolves all, merges into one Ishvara. It emerges from Ishvara, sustained by Ishvara, and merges back into Ishvara. For that, these different examples are given. We'll look at it tomorrow further. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.